Hi everyone. Not done a video for a bit. Couple of games I've kind of stayed off of it. I've not really known what to say, to be honest. I really don't want to be that guy who does those real reactionary videos that, yeah, okay, gets loads of views and gets people going, but for me that's all for the wrong reasons. It's all just, you know, fans of other clubs sort of reveling in your disappointment and your anger and your upset. So I didn't really want to be one of those guys, because that's not really me anyway. I'm not really like that. I'm not really one to want to do that sort of thing. I prefer to kind of give a balanced view, or try to. Anyway, that's my view. You know what I'm trying to do. You may not agree, but I've just been so disappointed and so apathetic to it that I've kind of got to a point where I just didn't know what to say, and I didn't really have a view. I just kind of felt like it's what I expected. You know, the opportunity to really start staking a claim was there against Liverpool, set your marker out and so on, and I just had that feeling, that horrible feeling that that ain't gonna happen. And then, you know, obviously the inevitable happened, and the worst bit out of that for me is the loss of Harry Kane. Massive loss for us. I don't believe that we are a one-man team. I've had that debate before. I don't think we're a one-man team, but we do rely on him, and we've relied on him a lot more with his other attributes. You know, his link up with Son, you know, for instance. And so I've kind of, that for me is the biggest disappointment. And then it was almost written in the stars, wasn't it, that a team that haven't won at home, or only won once at home, come up against Tottenham, and what happens? They win their second game at home, and it was almost written in the stars. It's almost what you've come to expect. But I guess you kind of have to go with, right, every team's having a blip. Every team, you know. City have had a blip, Chelsea have had a blip, you know, Arsenal have had a blip, you know, Man United have had their blip. Liverpool to an extent have had a blip. That's why they're down where they were down where they were, and now starting to come a little bit better. So I'm hoping that we have basically just had a little bit of a blip. But when you look at it, you kind of think to yourself, it just don't look like a team that really wants to play for each other. It certainly don't look like a team that wants to play for the manager. And I know, you know, the knives are out for Mourinho a fair bit, to be honest. I think there's been lots of fans that didn't want him in the club in the first place and have been waiting for him to mess it up and become the, you know, the negative, sort of divisive Mourinho that we've kind of built up and kind of got used to seeing at other clubs. And certainly I called it out when he was appointed, that would be my concern if we get to that point. You know, really rip the soul out of the club. And I guess a lot of people were kind of seeing that, and I'm not trying to be clever and saying, oh, I saw this coming. I'm not saying that, but I kind of thought to myself, you know, you do see that with Mourinho. You do see, you know, when he comes in, the charm and the benefit to the players, and, you know, and all that kind of stuff. But towards the end of his tenure, it does go sour, or it has done. You know, historically, it has gone sour. So I kind of think to myself, well, you know, is that what's going to happen? For me, I think we're so early into it that I wouldn't have thought that was the case yet. I would have thought that there'd be a bit more time before that really happens. But certainly, you know, a lot of people calling out the treatment of Dele Alli. You know, my view on that would be, well, you know, is Dele Alli doing enough? You know, has he done enough coming in? Because the player's always really good when they're not playing. They're always the saviour. I remember lots of fans calling that we needed Dyer back, and now we can't put a foot right. So, you know, I would argue that, you know, maybe Dele isn't a great example, although I would agree that you know, maybe his treatment of not really playing at all and being left out of the squad altogether, and that is, you know, is not really helpful to the player. And if Dele is a really popular guy amongst the squad, then that may well have an impact on other players around him, you know, being a bit disappointed with the manager and so on. But when you're in a team, you've got to think about what's best for the team. So is Dele being in the team best for the team? I don't know. Is him being out of the team the best for the team? I don't know. You know, Mourinho gets paid to make those calls, I guess, and you know, and he'll live or die by them. Serge Aurier, and I've seen some guys calling out about Serge Aurier having sort of getting oiked off. He's quite bad, and that treats him quite badly. That one I'd absolutely disagree with. Although I think Serge has done a great job over recent weeks. I think he's played really, really well. But he is so known to do that stupid thing, you know, where he barges into someone and gives away a penalty, or chucks himself at something, or gets himself totally out of position, or whatever, you know. I mean, he just does do that. It's in his nature to do that. So I don't necessarily agree with that either. But you know, he's got a manager squad. Now, I personally think we have got a decent squad. You know, there are some decent players in there. You're going to have some injuries. You're going to have some problems. It's not always going to work. But you know, I've seen so many players called out as crap. You know, there's hardly any players in the team or in the squad that are considered any good, you know, by a lot of fans. So, you know, it's all subjective. It's all about opinions, I guess. But the one thing I would say, and I was having this debate with some guys from the Thing I Like Most show on WhatsApp yesterday, I really can't see it. And I know there's going to be lots of people calling for Mourinho's head, but I really can't see it. I think that Pochettino lost his job because Mourinho was available. I don't necessarily believe that Pochettino lost his job because of results. You know, I believe that Daniel Levy was desperate to have Jose Mourinho, and when he came available and the opportunity was there, he struck whilst he could. And I think, you know, that's fairly obvious. You know, straight after, you know, appointing him, you know, we've gone out and spent more money than we've spent for a long, long time on players, and giving Mourinho, as far as we know, what he wanted and who he's calling out for. Now, if he's not got the players he wanted, that's a different kettle of fish. But certainly you would argue that, you know, bringing Region back in the squad is a really good addition. Matt Doherty's getting a bit of a bad press at the moment, but I personally don't think he's that bad. I think he came in and he was doing really well, and I think they brought Serge Aurier back, and Serge Aurier started playing a lot better than he had, and I think, you know, he basically just kind of edges it in Mourinho's head anyway, and that's kind of put Doherty out. And then, you know, you can't play great if you're not getting consistent starts. And when, you know, let's be fair, when Bale come back, it was a frenzy. People were so happy that he was coming back, marquee signing, all that kind of malarkey. And I don't know if you can just turn your back on that now and go, oh, he's rubbish and he should never have come back and all the rest of it. He's barely had a chance. He hasn't played a lot of football for a long time. He's not the player that he was, but I do believe that he has the ability. You know, some guys that listen to me regularly, you know, have made comments about, you know, how old Ronaldo is, or Lewandowski and players like that, and how well they're doing. Then why can't Bale do the same? And I personally think he probably can. It's just whether he gets a regular run in the team, whether he's got his fitness back, and all the rest of it. You know, I honestly don't believe that you can just pluck a player, you know, that's not playing regularly and expect them to perform at the top level. I think they need to. Oh, hello, road's closed. I think they do need to really get to play a little bit more regular football to keep up their fitness and their ability and how the team plays. So, you know, I get it. I get why people are looking for people to blame, you know, but I just don't think you can do it like that. I think there's more to it than that. But for me, I think Mourinho he's going to stay. I don't think Levy's going to get rid of him, and I think that's something we're going to have to see. I think it would have to get a lot worse for him to be taken out of the job. You know, bear in mind we are still in a position where we're in a final, first bit of silverware beckoning, maybe. We're still in the FA Cup. We're still in the League Cup, European Europa League, as it stands. So there is still opportunity in there that we've kind of, you know, got opportunity in, and potentially other silverware. So you can't really write that off as yet. So all the while that's there, and you know, and to be fair, we still have a good opportunity to get up in the league, because you know it's not over until it's over. And if we've had a poor period and other teams are having a poor period, it's still all to play for. You know, it's not out of sight, it's not done and dusted. So I think, you know, Levy will still be fairly confident that Mourinho can turn it around, and Mourinho will be telling Levy that he can turn it around, and he will turn it around. And they're the guys that are around the players every day. They're the guys that are listening to the players, talking to the players, watching their training, seeing their attitudes, having those conversations. Because it's like any team that you manage. You know, they'll be having, you know, little sort of one-to-one chats or that kind of stuff, and all the rest of it. And you know, they'll deal with some of those problems and those frustrations that people are having. So I'm sure that the hierarchy there will know whether Mourinho has lost the dressing room, as some people are suggesting. I'm not sure he has, not just yet. I think it's tight. I think it could be on the cards. You know, we know he's got history. We know what he's like. But you know, all we can do is keep supporting the team and hoping that things start to turn around, and we go on to the next game and see where we go. Big ask on Thursday against the Chavs. Not a great fixture to have, and some difficult games to come. Europa League back on, so that's gonna cause us some difficulties in terms of fixture pile up. But listen, that's what a game's all about, isn't it? That's what we're in it for. You know, the more games means the more competitions. The more competitions, the more opportunity to win silverware, and silverware is where it's at. Certainly for a fan, not for the owner, but for a fan. So we keep the faith, we keep believing. We're gonna keep supporting anyway. So what are you gonna do? At the end of the day, it's all about the team, it's all about the squad, it's all about the club. So we leave it there, and we keep on thinking, and we keep on praying, and we keep on saying, up the Spurs.